Yep.
Oh, are we on? Okay.
Black and blue, I crawled along the wreckage of what now is gone. Back to you to fight another day. I'll go on and on and on and on. I'll face it, the demons I created with every last part of me. The pain will fade and I'll go on and on and on and on. Black and blue, I crawl to you. Black and blue, I crawl to you.
Hello
Okay.
and welcome to SmackDown. This is going to be a normal SmackDown for kid stuff, but something came up and now it's a very special thing. Eli, tell them why it's special.
Yes, because well, coincidentally, I mean, we did plan this even before what had happened recently. As you all know, this is part 2 of the SmackDown of PBS Kids, and coincidentally, a couple days ago, and as you see in the thumbnail, and of course what you're seeing right now on streaming, Digit, the bird from Cyber Chase, the Gilbert Gottfried, who voiced Digit, had unfortunately passed away this past week, and this is I don't see why not. This will be in tribute to Gilbert Gottfried, and since he was definitely heavily a part of the the cyber the Cyber Chase show, and him being one of the top actors, voice actors for Cyber Chase, right next to Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, so that's basically what this is going to be as well, in tribute of Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes. Yeah, I would go over how he died, but this is not a SmackDown on the biology of a human. But in addition to his most famous roles of Iago from Aladdin and Digit
Correct.
from Cyber Chase, he was also Krang Subprime in one of the later Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adaptations, and he's the Duck from the Aflac commercials.
Yes.
Or was the Duck from the Aflac commercials until they replaced him.
Yep.
He is very outside of the whole PBS Kids thing. He is very well known for not having a filter. Like he does not do too soon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before we dive into some kids stuff, I'm gonna go a bit out there and talk about some of his most infamous jokes. Um, he did a monologue at the Friars Club roast of Hugh Hefner. This was 3 weeks after 9/11. He joked that he intended to catch a plane but couldn't get a direct flight because they had to stop at the Empire State Building first.
Ugh.
Everyone was booing him, and since he figured he lost an audience bigger than anybody ever lost an audience, he pretty much just abandoned all later 9/11 stuff and went to his most famous joke, the aristocrats.
The aristocrats.
Yes.
What an asshole!
That's funny. Let's see. What else did Gilbert Gottfried do that I can talk about real quick before going back to the topic here?
No,
Let's
he
see.
actually did. He did. Yago, I think was the name from
I
Aladdin.
mentioned Iago. He did Iago in all of the Aladdin things, actually.
Yep.
And skipping
Also,
ahead.
apparently he did voice a couple of live action birds in other films, but I forgot what the characters were names.
I'll look it up later. In the meantime, television. Looking at television. He was Mr. Babcock from the Cosby Show. Enjoy that reference because I'm never making it again. Let's see. Who remembers Ren and Stimpy? Apparently, he voiced Jerry the Belly Button Elf.
Yep.
Skipping ahead. Muppets Tonight. I don't know what that is.
That was one of the Muppets shows from the 1990s. That was on Disney Channel.
Yeah, apparently he was on that at some point.
Yeah. And basically, he went out with Kermit to a restaurant, and he like said, you know what I'm gonna have tonight, frog's legs, something like that.
Wow. Okay. This is unexpected even for me, and I was a hardcore listener. In the Fairly Odd Parents, he was the original voice of the evil dentist Dr. Bender and his son Wendell.
Oh.
Let's see. He was in one of the later seasons of Bear in the Big Blue House as the large possum.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah, like he and along with Brad Garrett did two Muppets in an episode of Bear in the Big Blue House.
Yeah. Apparently he was on Family Guy. Remember when Stewie asked Brian what the dog whistle sounded like? Dog whistle! Dog whistle!
And I remember one episode he voiced a horse that, it was him as a horse, basically.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, Hannah Montana. That was one of my favorite appearances of him. He voiced the famous critic Barney Bittman that criticized like teen pop sensations. I reviewed a teen pop sensation, Michaela, or should I say teen poop sensation? Let's see, skipping ahead. In Back of the Barnyard, he was the Barn Buddy, which was the barnyard security system. Video game eradicated. It's for your own good. They cause agita. What? Agita. What? Agita. What? Agita. Agita.
And he voiced a like a character like in the later seasons in SpongeBob, like not too long ago, a couple years ago, I guess. Again, not too long ago, he voiced he guest voiced on SpongeBob.
Yes. He was the voice of Sal in The Hankering, and he made a cameo as himself in SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout. Skipping ahead. Not sure if you've heard of Smiling Friends, but apparently he's the voice of God.
Oh, I don't think I've heard of Smiling Friends.
Apparently in 2007, My Gym Partner's a Monkey voiced a character known as Rick Platypus.
Yes, in That Darn Platypus.
I boost your nose.
Yeah. Let's see. But people of like the modern generations will recognize him as not only providing a cameo appearance in Gilbert Gottfried reads 50 Shades of Grey by College Humor, but he's also the voice of Twitter in the Roast of Facebook by College Humor, and he also appeared on The Angry Video Game Nerd as the infamous Fred Fox.
Yeah.
He's above my shot.
It's amazing how, Cinemassacre, like they got, say, Lloyd Kaufman, they got, Macaulay Culkin, and they got Gilbert Gottfried, like guest starring on Angry Video Game Nerd.
They even got the guy from the Pepsi Man game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I almost forgot.
Yeah, I finally figured out what the Angry Video Game Nerd wanted to know. He wanted to know why the guy said Pepsi for TV game, because it sounded weird. I figured it out. Apparently, TV game was what called video games back then.
Right.
So, anyway, okay. So, that's enough. Go ahead.
You know what? Never mind.
No. I overspoke. That's fine. Keep going.
It's just a little bit about Mike Butters. About other than the Pepsi Man thing, he is also apparently like a character in the Saw movies from the last
I
time.
had no idea. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, so anyway, we've done enough gushing about Gilbert Gottfried's grander material. Time to man up and get serious. Grow the hell up. We're talking about PBS kids in our pajamas.
Yeah.
Eh, uh, uh, so, Gilbert Gottfried on PBS Kids, he was in Cyber Chase as the voice of Digit and Widget.
I forgot about Widget. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite some time since I've seen Cyber Chase, and if I have seen the episode where we see Widget.
Yeah, I've seen him in a couple episodes.
Oh.
There's the one where he was trying to like there was the one where what was it? There was the one where Widget had used his Cyberry card to access the information kiosk because then there was the one for Cyber Mom's Day. While Digit and the kids went out looking for the Madre Bonita flower, not only for Motherboard, but to make sure that the tradition carried on, Widget stayed behind to get the vase ready, only to accidentally flood Control Central.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, Widget is kind of cute, I'll admit. Digit's kind of cute in his own right, but it's like you ever have like the cute mother and kid couple. That's how I see Digit and Widget. Yeah. And Digit it's like he's like the guy that everybody wants on their team. Like they're street smart. They know a way around the world. They know they've been there. They've done stuff, but they don't necessarily know things. But you know things, and that's why you make a good team together. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so hold on. Where are we? Shoot. Anyway, I mean, that's all I could say about that's all I could say about the Gilbert's role in Cyber Chase. So unless we're talking about Cyber Chase in general, I think we can move on to something else.
Just to quickly say that I saw this. Apparently, there's still a couple of episodes coming out. A little bit later in the month, I guess, and those episodes where Gilbert Gottfried had voiced Digit.
Yes.
Like he, of course, recorded dialogue. Before his death, and yeah, I'm just very interested in going to happen. With Gilbert. We'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, I feel like they can manage. Like when Gilbert got fired from the Aflac commercials, they found a replacement, and all that replacement did was just do an impression of Gilbert Gottfried's impression.
Mm-hmm.
So, like his voice is unique to him, and it will never truly be replicated, no matter how much UberDuck tries. But people can imitate it, and they can make it sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Gilbert would probably want Cyber Chase to continue. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's a voice that no one will ever truly forget. That's all I can say about it. And no one will ever forget it. No one can perfectly replicate it, but we can come close. He's like the only American I can think of to come close to the British style of edgy humor that I'm aware of. So, Okay, so let's see what else. Shoot. Uh, kind of a shame that like he wasn't on Fetch with Rough Ruffman. He could have taught the Fetchers how to do comedy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, from what I could tell, he didn't give up his role of Iago to anyone. He voiced Iago for all the Aladdin movies and the TV show and Kingdom Hearts.
That's good.
Well, any other future appearances of Iago might as well have to be an impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just a guy who learned how to do a Gilbert Gottfried impression from some random punks on the internet. I'm not educated enough for that guy who talks about buffalo shit in his basement. Mm. Mm. Anyway,
that was pretty funny because again, when he appeared on Angry Video Game Nerd, and even those moments where like James was trying not to laugh, what Gilbert was saying.
yeah, I'm surprised how into it Gilbert was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when he was angry, grumpy, he seemed like he didn't want to be there, but I knew that it wasn't true because then there were moments where he was like genuinely having a laugh.
Yep.
Like even his subtle moments in that video came through pretty funny for me. Obviously too artsy fartsy for your plebeian palate. Aren't you doused in urine from head to toe? Shit. Fuck, this was supposed to be a PBS Kids episode, and now we're just gushing on his comedy again. Anyway, yeah, he will be missed. There's just the Trump jokes he would have made if he lived on to do more things. But anyway, but anyway, he was a great man, and I hope we can aspire to match his level of edginess. But in the meantime, what's next on the queue for PBS Kids?
I don't know. But there's something I forgot to mention. Does anybody recall that Gilbert made an appearance as Abraham Lincoln in A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy. Apparently, he also made an appearance as Hitler in Historical Roasts.
There were some PBS Kids shows I did kind of like a little more, well, not much in recent years, but they were like when I got a little more older.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, there was Dinosaur Train.
Oh, Dinosaur Train. That must have been one of the recent ones because I've never heard of Dinosaur Train.
Oh, yeah. I have, yeah.
All right, why don't you talk about Dinosaur Train since this is the PBS Kids episode?
From what I've known, Dinosaur Train was basically a show about like a betrayed family that actually had an adopted a baby T-Rex because that baby T-Rex known as Buddy, I don't know, something to do with that other mother. I don't know, the Buddy's parents or whatever must have like forgot their egg or whatever at some point. Anyway, they actually go on to this train going to different dinosaur, the different periods where dinosaurs were still roaming around.
Yes.
Learning other dinosaur information.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny. I never even knew that the different eras had names until I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And they had those fossil cards.
Mm.
Anyway, Eli, your thoughts on Dinosaur Train?
Oh yeah. Well, Dinosaur Train. Yeah, I watched some of it. Yeah, and not to mention it was Dinosaur Train, and along with Sid the Science Kid, they were like two of the shows to come straight from the Jim Henson Company, and for them being on PBS Kids. The whole motion capture, digital puppetry, etc. And I remember the theme song very well of Dinosaur Train, and some of the characters too. Like there was Buddy and Tiny. Like Buddy was a T-Rex that came from family of pterodactyls, and then oh yeah, even like they're friends with the conductor of the Dinosaur Train, and like even I remember like it probably was in one of the first episodes of Dinosaur Train where singing the alphabet, all dinosaurs, in the order of the alphabet, etc. And even before like going to the next story, sometimes they'd have live action segments with a paleontologist, etc. And yeah, I mean that's really all I can remember of say Dinosaur Train.
Mm. Yeah, this was after my time, clearly.
Yeah.
I think the creator. Hold on. I don't know. I just kind of remembered something about the creator of this series. Wow.
Take your time.
The creator of Dinosaur Train, you say?
Yeah, like I don't know if. Well, actually, I don't know if this was the creator, but I don't know. There was just something about Dinosaur Train that stood out from the crowd for me.
What is it?
I have seen the Robot Chicken did a parody of Dinosaur Train. They did a song number of Dinosaur Train. I really can't remember that. But all I know is Robot Chicken did Dinosaur Train.
The creator of Dinosaur Train is actually the same one who actually did the Nickelodeon series Hey Arnold.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe makes me wonder what the hell they put in the Jungle movie. Does the Jungle have dinosaurs?
I don't know.
that'd be freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see what else was on PBS Kids that we didn't talk about much. I am not watching the first stream again because I'm lazy.
This is one other PBS Kids show I would like to bring up. I don't know if this was ever covered in part one because I wasn't there in part one.
Don't be afraid.
It's okay.
It's about it was a live action show with a Jim Henson quality puppets, I think.
Jim Henson quality puppets.
Are you talking about Sesame Street?
No.
No, okay.
It's another show that actually lasted for like the 2000s. It was going to have a spin-off. It was going to have a Flash spin-off, but it got canceled at some point.
Oh, I think I know this one, Between the Lions.
Yes.
That didn't come straight from the Jim Henson Company, did it?
Like, no. They were the people that made them were affiliated with Jim Henson, but they were not like Jim Henson like properties. Be right back.
It's like the puppets were used for that show just felt Jim Henson quality. Like,
yeah, some of them. It feels like they are. Yeah, like I'm sure. Say, I feel like there were monkeys that appeared. I feel like they're kind of, and there were pigeons. Like I feel like there was some like Muppet, like Jim Henson feel to it,
Yeah.
Well, not to mention, I never saw these episodes, but there are clips of it that are on YouTube. Big Bird and Ernie and Bert made cameos one time in Between the Lions.
Yeah. I just actually like Between the Lines for, actually trying to encourage people to read things at the time.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Especially,
Yeah.
you got your cliffhanger bit.
Yeah. Wayne's World, Fun with Chicken Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I will say this here, that is like I'll admit though, there is one character that kind of looked a bit too nightmare fuel moment. I think it was
Smarty Pants?
Yes.
Fancy Smarty Pants!
Of all the puppets I've
Smarty
seen,
Pants.
all the puppets I've seen, I felt like he's the most nightmare fuel compared to the rest.
I mean, you're not alone. Defunct TV said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it was really advanced for its time, the show, because at a time when Sesame Street was teaching us about numbers and letters, and Dragon Tales was about teaching us how to get along in the world, Between the Lions was teaching us all how to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from what I've known, like they actually the show got canceled somewhere around 2010 or something like that due to budget.
Yeah.
Like they reached their syndication number, and not only that, every episode was really expensive. And honestly, I don't blame them for it being really expensive, because you could tell just by looking at the screen that every dollar put into production was well spent.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny, that this show lasts for 2010s, but yet something like Sesame Street's been lasting this long with similar quality puppets.
Yeah. Yeah. Too bad it carried an unfortunate curse on Jim Henson's legacy. It's like once you do Sesame Street, that's all you're known for doing is Sesame Street. So people don't really think of Jim Henson as the guy that could do more grown-up things, and he wanted to do more grown-up things.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think the closest we've ever seen his stuff get to being adult post-mortem was Happy Time Murders.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was put out by Henson Alternative, the people that do the Jim Henson puppetry for the more adult-oriented projects. And what's funny is they almost got sued by Sesame Street because of their tagline, "No Sesame, all Street."
Oh god. Yeah, I can see why.
Thankfully, the courts dropped the suit when they recognized clear as fucking crystal that it was a parody.
Yep.
But it did leave some form of impact, because every trailer after that pretty much you put that as a badge of honor, like from the studio that got sued by Sesame Street.
No. Hey, buddy, guys, interested in the DM?
Let me see.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Happy Time Murders, it failed,
Well, the movie was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, what else is on the PBS Kids train?
I don't know. I mean, because I feel like we almost talked a lot about the PBS Kids shows, but I don't know. Like, did you have any others you wanted to talk about?
Was Caillou ever brought up in part 1?
It was, but if you want to say something on Caillou, go ahead.
The only thing I will say, well, actually, little two tidbits, I guess. This is one of the only few PBS Kids shows I legitimately did not like, as a kid, still is now,
Yeah, when I was a kid, I tolerated it, and as an adult, I hated it. It's like Barney, except more cancer.
Barney's the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Oh, you went there.
What'd you say? What'd you say again to Sim?
I'll say it for him. He nodded at my cancer comment, saying, "Look at Caillou's head, like he's bald, kind of like most stereotypical people with cancer." It's a cancer joke. But let's just move on.
Yeah.
So in regards to Caillou on PBS Kids, we are of course referring to the classic Caillou that everybody hates, and not the modern reboot that everyone. Yes, classic Caillou was on the air for like years on PBS Kids. What was funny, like one thing that's really friggin' hilarious is like when it ended, when its syndication run finally ended, and they were finally pulling it off the PBS stations, that they tweeted about it, saying they were sorry that it's gonna happen, and here are some tips to help your child cope. Meanwhile, while they expect us to be mourning the loss of a great beloved children's icon, we're all just fucking dancing on their grave, like hell yeah, good goddamn riddance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, the second tad bit I would bring up is apparently in the lost media scene there was another version of Caillou known as Charlie for some reason.
Oh yeah, allegedly there's a redub of Caillou where instead of the kid being named Caillou, he was named Charlie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I say allegedly because despite people having vivid recollections of it, I've not seen anything surface of it. Like, no hard evidence.
And did you brought up Sid the Science Kid?
Sid the Science Kid. I know very little of Sid the Science Kid. There are two things I remember from Sid the Science Kid. Number one is when all the television was transitioning to being digital instead of being analog. He was one of the shows that kind of like had their own little PSA on what digital television means and how to get your parents on the bandwagon to prepare for it changing. So that's how I remember seeing the character. But there was one other moment I remember, though I could be misremembering it for another series. I hope it's this one. He wanted to solve the mystery of where did I come from? And then his parents told him to walk right through the wall because apparently that's a wall he could walk through. And he, on the other side of the wall, he walked into the animation studio where everyone gave him behind the scenes tidbits of the show. And it was the most boring thing in the world.
But yeah, from what I've known about Sid's a Science Kid, it's just that, well, it was just mostly a kid that just wanted to know science stuff. Similar to Bill Nye the Science Guy. Heck, in fact, I actually kind of, like a while back, like years ago when I saw that show, I was kind of making like jokes on Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, like, it didn't really appeal to me at the age I saw it because at that point I had my fill of Bill Nye and Beakman's World. And if I wanted to watch any show about science on PBS Kids, it would be Fetchwood Rough Roughman.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the shows that I liked as a kid. Maybe not one of my total favorites, but still alright from what I saw.
Yeah. Let's see. On the subject of animated derivatives of way better shows, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood.
Yeah.
It is a continuation of the ever loved, ever famous, ever popular, will never go away no matter how hard you try, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yes.
Hey,
And I'm sure that
Go ahead.
I was just about to say, I'm sure that Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood does its best, continuing the legacy of, what Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, did.
I can appreciate that it means well, but like it just nothing compares to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and the way that he presented his show and the kind of crap he talked kind of stuff he talked about and the way he talked about it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like I even saw some behind the scenes stuff from Won't You Be My Neighbor that made the show even more eye opening.
Yep.
Like there was this one dude like way back then when the show was being made, there was this one dude in his cast that was like gay or something, and this was at a time when being gay was problematic. Like they said he couldn't come out as gay on the program because he's a Christian and he was afraid they would lose Christian sponsors. But that thing he always says over and over again, I like you just the way you are, he actually did mean it, especially for that gay guy, because it's like he's like one of those Christians that like doesn't discriminate. He takes like it's like love thy neighbor, that kind of stuff. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like he's like one of those religious people that I can see in the world that I could be like, yeah, he's a cool guy. Eh. Like to me, it's like I don't like talking religion, but the way I see it, there's religion and then there's religion.
Yep.
If you know what I mean. Mr. Rogers isn't just one of the good ones. He is like the granddaddy of the good ones. We could all learn a lot about love and tolerance from him.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Daniel Tiger. I have not seen Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, but I do know the significance of the name because Daniel Tiger was actually the name of a character that Mr. Rogers commands the puppet of in the land of make believe.
Yep.
Or is it the neighborhood of make believe? I forget.
It's the neighborhood of make believe.
Right. Frick. Like it's like it's kind of interesting seeing the way like Daniel Tiger, like the way Mr. Rogers portrayed him at least, tackle like serious stuff that you wouldn't expect children to be hearing about or talking about. Like, what does assassination mean? It's when someone gets killed in a surprise way. That's what happened, That man killed that other man. Like, it's like other people need to take notes that you could just like you don't even have to make that much of an effort to incorporate audience or scaring them. Just talk to them and be on the level and just like uh, don't ever let them be afraid to talk about their feelings and express their true emotions. And
Yep.
that's why I hate Barney, because Barney's like all happy all the freaking time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They just giving me the eye. What? That I knew. And his mic is still off. Ouijian. It's not Ouijian. I wanted to be funny.
And I think you were, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So has anyone else seen Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood? Because they might fill some gaps for me.
I've just seen bits and pieces of it. That's about it.
Uh, it like it would you say it works as like a substitute for the original, or do we really just need the original that much more?
I don't know. I mean, I can't deny it. Like, definitely need the original back, but I'm sure that yeah, for Daniel Tiger, it tries its best and to continue that legacy, as I said early.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I think it stands the test of time for the original. Like when I think they put the original set for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in a museum somewhere now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Daniel Tiger is animated. Like, sure, you can get stories across wackier and easier with an animated medium, but like when you're trying to be true to heart and speak clearly and on a level to the minds of children, you need someone they can connect to. Like like friggin' like Mr. Rogers was like the way he presented himself, he was like the polar opposite of that one older relative at your Thanksgiving dinner table that spouts racist obscenities. Whereas animated figure, you could put any voice on it and it kind of works. So they're pretty much puppets in like the most gross term of the word. Mhm. But like cartoons can sell anything. Mr. Rogers didn't like selling things. He liked he liked teaching kids, not teaching kids to sell things.
Yeah.
Mm. Like, I mean, I bet you the only reason they did the animated format was so they could make toys of Daniel Tiger.
Yeah, because for something like that and its style, yeah, like definitely it would make good merch. It would make good toys, etc.
Right? Um. Okay. Since moving right along. Uh. Since you guys talked about something that you are are like uniquely familiar with, I'll talk about something I remember. George Shrinks.
I don't know about that.
Alright, George Shrinks was part of the Bookworm Bunch block. These are like animated stuffs that are based on children's books. George Shrinks was really freaking clever because it's about a little kid. It's about a kid who wakes up one day to find his dream had come true. That he was really small, like really small, like like I think about 3 inches. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, he's really small, and therefore life from his perspective is very unique and grand and adventurous. Like he has little shortcuts throughout his house with pipes, and then he navigates around with a hover car that he calls his Zooper car. Uh, it's actually kind of it's actually kind of funny seeing him like interact with animals and his environment and stuff. Uh, it's based on a book of the same name, and I said that already. Fuck. Uh, the the cool thing about George Shrinks is that it's actually a co-production. Let me. I think it was a Chinese company and a Canadian company. Let me look that up. Uh, I could be wrong. George Shrinks PBS. Um, aha. So yes, while PBS did air it in America, in Canada it was on YTV. I don't know if you've ever heard of YTV. It's one of those Canadian TV channels. But okay. Anyway, it is a co-production of Nelvana and Jade Animation. Jade Animation is based in Hong Kong. I was close. I was close. Please don't censor us, China. In fact, censor actually no, scratch that. Censor us all you want. I don't fucking care.
Are you screen sharing something?
I am not yet.
Okay, but I mean, my screen share's still up, so.
Yeah, just me. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yes. So it started in 2000. Ooh, right when I was 4 years, and ended in 2003.
Oh.
Mm. There are many DVDs, and unfortunately, this is the stupidest way to do a DVD that I've ever seen. Because each DVD holds about like 2, 3, or 4 episodes, and they do not cover all the episodes.
Okay.
Oh, apparently, the production company Treehouse TV released the full series on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we can. Um, I don't know if it's something we could watch though. They probably cost money. Who knows? Anyway, yes, he's 10 years old and he's really small. Like imagine like a little 10-year-old boy running around like the size of a mouse. uh, frick. Great. Now I look like an idiot. What else? Yeah.
I don't know, like if we're kind of like retalking about some stuff we talked about in part one, that's okay. But even if Digi has because since Digi was not part of part one, like if it's his chance to say something on what we talked about in part one. So
Oh, I got an idea. Arthur ended recently. Let's talk about Arthur again.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of briefly go over like what we talked about last time, Arthur is Arthur. It's a show about a kid named Arthur and his adventures in Elwood City with his friends. The first few episodes were based like into the future, and everyone's
You
living
might have
happy.
I couldn't hear you, GH. You kind of cut off for a couple of seconds.
In the last episode, they time jump into the future. Everybody's having successful, happy careers. And then we see Arthur, and he's writing a graphic novel. The graphic novel being called Arthur's Eyes, and it was about the time he got his glasses. And
Yeah.
that's what ties everything full circle, because not only was Arthur's Eyes the very first Arthur book, but it was also the very first episode of the Arthur TV show. And for the cherry on top of the full circle thing, the voice actor they got for Arthur as a grown-up is actually the very first voice actor for Arthur.
Ah, that's great. That
Makes sense
is
to me.
great. That's great they did that.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought, Arthur was one of those cartoons I kind of thought that died actually in the late 2000s at most.
Like, some people thought it died around the time it changed animation styles. And while some of us were really angry and releasing our childhood rage hormones in our younger adult years, the truth of the matter is, while it does look visually different and in some cases unappealing, it's by no means offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like Arthur has a special place in my heart, not only for like showing us senses of realism and childlike imagination and whimsy, but also tackling some very serious subjects. Like on the episode called April 9th, the one about the school like catching fire, it was clearly meant as a parallel for the 9/11 attacks that happened recently at the time.
Yeah.
And there were actually 2 episodes that talked about Miss McGrady having cancer. I say 2 because the first episode is gone because it had Vance Legstrong in it.
Okay.
I should probably explain. Vance Legstrong was their parallel character for Lance Armstrong, who at the time was regarded as the greatest bicyclist in the world, and he was seen as an inspirational figure for the children. Unfortunately, they pulled his episodes from syndication after it's been found out that Lance Armstrong doped up before every race.
Oh.
Hey, Boonies.
Eh,
Hey, buddy, I think you sent me.
yeah, I see.
Yeah, someone actually made this for me a while back when I posted a couple pictures of her on Twitter.
Right. Anyways, where was I? Okay. Then there was that one where they talked about autism, and I've seen people try to convey autism in media, and like they try their best. And if anything, I think Arthur and Sesame Street are the 2 closest I've ever seen to getting it right.
Yes. Especially Sesame Street, yes.
Yeah, like it's unfortunate the way they butchered it afterwards, but like Arthur, I can kind of get behind because like the way Brain explains it,
Yeah.
like it kind of sits with me. Like I'll try my best to fit in and learn and adapt, but I'll always be a little different. And honestly, that's not something I'm ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like even though I come across as like normal to like the eyes of the people, I'll always stand out a little bit in some ways or another.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so what else did they do? What else did Arthur do? They did the cancer, they did the autism, they did the 9/11.
They did.
Go ahead.
No, I was good. If you weren't gonna say, if you were gonna say the same thing, I recall they did one. It was germophobic.
I was gonna say gay marriage. You can
Okay.
go first.
Well, this will be very quickly. Like germophobic. Even the Phantom Strader talked about this in his top 5 darkest PBS Kids episodes. Germophobic, like Buster having this fear and is scared of he's germophobic and touching things, etc., and that's basically all I have to say. So the thing is, germophobic. For one thing, you always have to wash your hands and not touch germs or anything like that. But anyways,
All right. There was one episode where the kids found out that Mr. Ratburn was getting married, but they didn't know who he was getting married to because they thought he was getting married to his sister, who just happened to be the wedding planner, and they didn't know she was his sister. Turns out he was actually getting married to the guy that sells the chocolate.
oh
I might be wrong about that character, but
yeah,
so Mr. Ratburn is gay, and he gets happily married to a guy he really likes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Did they out of nowhere just straight up made Mr. Ratburn gay?
I don't know if they did, but it was never established who Mr. Ratburn was attracted to prior.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like they can have him be into whoever they want, But
Yeah.
I like the way the kids handled it though. It's like they found out that he was getting married to this guy and they loved it. Like cuz they knew from before that he was a great guy and Mr. Ratburn in love with him. Mr. Ratburn loves him. They tie the knot. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
And that the kids knew that he was a good teacher as well.
yes. Like
Yeah.
it was a very happy union and nothing offensive about it. Too bad the
Yeah.
state of Alabama didn't think so.
I was about to say somebody had to be upset over it, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic that it gets banned and for depicting a homosexual marriage
Yeah.
in a state that meme culture dictates as promoting incestual relationships.
Yeah. Remember when in part 1 when we talked about postcards from Buster, there was that banned episode?
Oh yes.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, it was like a lesbian couple.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they don't even go all in with the whole lesbian agenda that people say that
No.
they have. Like she just introduces her mom and her stepmom, says she loves them both very much, and they show Buster pictures of the kids in their neighborhood gathering together with their moms, and he's like, "Wow, that's a lot of moms."
Yeah.
Like
Like,
yeah.
yeah. You know what? Do you have anything to say on that, Digi, on that episode? You know, and postcards from Buster, etc.
Or Arthur in general.
Um,
Yeah.
about that episode of Postcards from Buster.
Mhm.
After hearing after hearing that they sort of violate one of their things. And by the way, this was actually from a video from a YouTuber known as L Supersonic Q.
Okay.
Did a video on that. Um, Something about violating and their I don't know. It was like one of their policies or something about freedom of speech or whatever. After hearing that they just violated it because of this episode, I was just like, "What the fuck is with you, guy? Hypocritical guys."
Sheesh. Right. Um. Okay. So. Yeah, it's crazy to say the least.
Yep.
Uh. Yeah. I did say they did the Miss McGrady cancer episode twice, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Like the first time they attempted it was in the traditional hand drawn style, and that was the one with Vance Legstrom, the one that got pulled. When they tried it again, since they decided the cancer episode was so serious and they needed to address the subject matter again, they pretty much essentially redid it in the Flash style with totally different setup and totally different characters. Except it's Miss McGrady that still has cancer. I think they handled it just as well, if not slightly better, the second time around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's like friggin' like the reasons why Arthur and shows like Art. The reason why shows like Arthur and Mister Rogers succeed is the reason why shows like Teletubbies and Barney fail. Like instead of talking down to us and rejecting all emotional diversity, they they don't treat their audience like idiots. They tell it like it is. They present interesting and fascinating stories and like they show and they pretty much go by the belief that kids are smarter and more mentally capable than we give them credit for if we just give them the room to express themselves.
Kind of why I did like back in the day where certain cartoons are became a little bit more risque than today's cartoons.
Yeah. Well, but you're probably talking like Oh wait, no, you're not talking about adult cartoons. You're talking about the shit on Cartoon Network, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Like, well, those aren't strictly for little kids. At least it shows that like the world is the world. There's no sugarcoating it, and a kid can understand their environment and the shit that people do and say sometimes. Is you. Hmm. Like I can just imagine pitching my own cartoon to PBS. I call it Digi the Sparkly Bear. It's about a sparkly bear named Digi, and he travels with a circus and learns things. Anyway, so what else haven't we talked? What else have we yet to talk about on this thing? Let's see. We did Cyber Chase already.
Everything else, yeah.
Who's seen Odd Squad?
I'm not sure if I have.
Odd Squad is one of those live action shows that came out. I think it's still going. It's one of those recent shows. Basically, there's these kids called the Odd Squad, and they stop these evil supervillains that do odd things.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I do really remember that.
Yeah.
But I do.
Oh, go ahead.
No, if you were still like, I was going to talk about another like other shows, but if you were not done yet on Odd Squad,
I wouldn't even know where to begin on Odd Squad anyway. The whole thing is a acid trip. Anyway, your turn.
Okay. But what I was going to say was, do you remember like I don't know, because sometimes this was during when PBS Kids was going on. You know, there were like, I remember 2 live action like shows going on, and it was during PBS Kids. Like, this wasn't like they didn't come on until after. Like, they didn't consider like showing these after PBS Kids was done for the day. Instead, they showed them in the middle. Like, do you remember that there was Sit and Be Fit?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, and what about, say, Homework Hotline?
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I really have nothing much to say on them. I knew that they existed. I couldn't believe that I watched a little bit of those, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention them because I knew that they were there, and they were on during the middle of PBS Kids. Like, I don't know, but anyways, let's continue.
Right. Let's see. What's the thing I can do? Not Maya Miguel. I don't know enough about that. Shoot. This is harder than I thought. Wait. Hold on, something. I thought I had some for a second. Let's see. Maya Miguel. No. Not Barney. Definitely not Barney. Anything but Barney.
I can name out some of them. It's a Big Big World, The Cat in the Hat, Super Y, Curious George.
Oh, I remember Curious George.
Oh yeah, I watched that a lot.
What's funny is like Curious George is one of the most curious cases of the Mandela effect that I've ever seen.
Okay.
Like Curious George, the monkey, this monkey has no tail. Yet
exactly.
Some people remember used to.
Yep, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm. There's Berenstein Bears. Berenstein, not Berenstain. Fight me.
There was that cartoon that had these 2 Spanish kids.
Maya and Miguel.
Yeah, there's that.
Uh,
Yeah, and see if you can, guess this. Butterflies in the sky.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, take a look. It's in
Uh,
a book.
yeah.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, the reason I remember reading Rainbow is like I was pretty much exposed to two different generations of reading Rainbow at the same time. When I was a kid growing up, they had like the later seasons of Reading Rainbow on the station, but the teacher at the school would always put on the older episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up, of course, with the one that with the Reading Rainbow that in the early 2000s, and the theme song being a little bit different.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was what I grew up with.
yeah, this time that at that point, yeah, and even during that, like LeVar Burton, he didn't have that hairstyle anymore, and he was kind of bald, I guess, and yeah, but there's that, and also let me see, oh yeah, like Teletubbies.
Oh,
Yeah, so there was that, and there was, of course, Thomas.
to the for the 68, shining
Shining
and
Lights.
holding right. Yeah,
Yes.
yes, they were all doing their jobs as directed by Sir Topham Hatt.
Yep, the Fat Controller.
We say Sir Topham Hatt here.
Yeah, and there was also Word World.
I don't remember too much of Word World, but I do remember Word Girl.
Yes, Word Girl. There was that. Uh, boy, let me see. Yeah, we talked about Fetch. We talked about Fetch with Rough Ruffman. What were you about to say?
I gushed about Fetch with Rough Ruffman so much last time. Anyway, Word Girl. She is a superhero and she has a monkey.
Yeah,
Uh,
Huggy Face.
Yes. What's funny is like they pretty much went the Danny Phantom route with Word Girl in that the cartoon itself and the characters and the setting and the plot has such rich, deep lore and narrative. And like as a kid, you don't even notice these things because you're too busy looking at the high flying superhero action and you're learning about words.
Yeah, there was one moment, like a little bit, like later on in the show, and I think maybe recent. I can't remember, but when Word Girls, what's her real name? What's her identity name?
Becky Botsford.
Yeah, Becky's best friend, girl best friend found out that she was Word Girl.
And she felt betrayed.
Exactly, because well, Becky never told her, that she was Word Girl.
Well, I mean, like she had every reason not to. Like, how would she know that her quote unquote friend wouldn't go around like hey everybody, I'm the baddest bitch in the whole school because my best fucking friend is goddamn Word Girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Um,
I mean, I honestly like. There's this one trope. I don't know if they did, but it would sure hurt me if they did. What if like what I'd be glad if they didn't do is like have her quote unquote friend be like after she's upset and storms off, she gets in danger and Word Girl saves her, and then she's not thankful at all. She just tells her to piss off.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the stupidest possible thing you could do.
Yep.
Kind
Other
of
show.
kind of like those stupid news articles I see where like the guy where the lady gets saved from either being run over or from drowning, but then they sue the person that saves them because they did not consent to being saved.
Yep.
Sounds fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally had as a kid, I literally had no idea of the rich lore of the Word Girl universe. Like, I thought she was just a normal girl with superpowers, but no, she was essentially an alien that got adopted. Like, imagine like if someone pulled that shit on her, like, like she's having a back and forth with a supervillain, and then the supervillain powers back with a, oh yeah, well, you're adopted. Mm. Oh, crazy shit.
Yeah. Is there anything else we're forgetting to mention?
Thinking.
I mean, we're at the length of an episode.
Yeah. Yeah. In conclusion, PBS Kids programming was the best way to get entertainment and education when you either did not have cable or your parents didn't let you watch anything else.
Ooh.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is going to be our last video on PBS Kids, so I think we've pretty much talked about literally everything.
Well, everything that we know about.
Yeah, everything that we know about. So
I've got a special closing for the SmackDown.
Go ahead.
I'm sure that you'll be able to hear it. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Right. My impression of like Gilbert, I did a video of my impressions of Gilbert Gottfried, but since this is PBS Kids, and I'm only going to do the digit part.
All right.
Chicks, if you're watching, mute the stream.
All right. Ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Stay right where you are. It's Cyber Chase for real. Hey guys, you can join the Cyber Squad on some awesome adventures and find really cool stuff to do online at pbskids.org. See you in cyberspace.
See ya.
Okay. That was amazing. Like, it was a bit low, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I tried my very best. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm impressed to see how good that impression is. Like, it's a passable impression. Like, if they hired you to replace Gilbert Gottfried, like, I wouldn't complain. It's that good.
Like
how about
the only thing that's a little different is the pitch, but like whatever the pitch.
How about you hear the other two? Why not?
What? Sure.
I heard the other two.
I can't believe it.
We got a minute.
I just don't believe it. We're never gonna get a hold of that stupid lamp. Just forget it. Look at this. Look at this. I'm so ticked off that I'm molting. Oh, there's a big surprise. That's incredible. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise. What are we gonna do? We got a big problem here. A big... Affleck! 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 Stay right where you are.
Yep,
It's
we
Cyber
got
Chase for
and
real.
like a digit.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Yep. The whole video.
Like, that was amazing, and friggin', to address the one hater that video's probably gonna have, I'll just do my best genie impression. Tick-sloth, he's our man. If he can't do it, great!
Yeah, like, and one quick word about Six is that Six has a character voiced by Gilbert Gottfried, or at least an uberduck of Gilbert Gottfried called Sterling in his YouTube poops. And imagine if he was still in the fucking grouping Eli was in. Oh my god, he would exploit Eli for all he's worth. Like, pretty much, like, he'd probably, like, trick him into doing, like, slave labor, so he could get that.
Oh my god, yeah, thank god, you dodged a bullet, Eli, you dodged a bullet.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, enough about, go ahead.
10,000 years in the Cave of Wonders ought to chill him out.
Yes.
That's the best. That's my. I feel like I can do a Robin Williams impression, but that's the best I can do right now.
Right. Yes. That about does it for the PBS Kids block. Rest in peace, Gilbert Gottfried.
Thank you for watching, everybody.
Yes. And the next Raw will be Monday, Easter Monday, and it will. What do we have on that day again?
I believe you'll know on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm too lazy to check the requester again. Next SmackDown is...
What does the internet think? .net.
What does the internet think? What the frick is that?
What does the internet think is a website where you can put in random terms and it'll give you a report of what the internet thinks about something.
Oh my god, it's like the freaking Decision Beach or whatever it is from Tomodachi Life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so, yeah, now that you know what to look forward to, sort of.
Bye-bye.